All right, so I thought I'd kind of walk you through this. We have our 5x7 hoop. We have our pair of fabric scissors here, and we have our donor sweatshirt. So we're going to cut out as big a square as we can out of that. And we have our brand new sweatshirt turned inside out, okay? So we're going to cut a big square out of our donor sweatshirt. And then we have our cutaway material here. And so we are going to we're going to pin our peekaboo fabric and our cutaway to the front of this brand new sweatshirt. Then we'll turn it right side back out and go ahead and hoop it up. But we're going to pin it just to hold those in place until we can get it hooped up here. So now you can see how we have our peekaboo fabric cut out of our waist shirt, and then we have a good sized piece of cutaway. So now what we're going to do is we're going to have the good side, the finished side of the peekaboo. We're going to flip it over, and that's going to be on the bad side of the brand new sweatshirt. Okay, and then again we're going to get rid of this. So we're going to flip this fabric over. So there's my brand new sweatshirt, and we're going to do basically bad side facing up, just like that. Okay, and then we're going to put our stabilizer on top, and we're going to pin it top, bottom, on the ends, probably 6 pins or so. And then we'll turn this inside out, and then we will hoop it with our 5x7 hoop. So you can see how we have it all pinned now. So the next step then is to turn it inside out and go ahead and get it hooped up. So we now have it turned right side out. You can see it's kind of all laying nice and flat, and you can see where our 6 pins are holding our stabilizer and peekaboo fabric. So now we're going to slide our hoop under, and we're going to go ahead and hoop this up. Now, one thing we do want to be mindful of is we have our sweatshirt fabric, our peekaboo sweatshirt fabric, and our cutaway. So our hoop is going to have to be fairly loose in order to be able to hoop all 3 layers together. Okay, so now we've got it all hooped up, and you can see that the center line of my hoop here is right in the center of my hood. And then I kind of use this pocket as far as, you know, to make it nice and level. I'm kind of guiding off of that pocket. So I'm happy with that. I'm happy with the way fabric is sitting in there nice and flat. And now we can go ahead and take a look at doing the embroidery on it. One thing to make note of, if I hadn't earlier, you could see my pins are way away from the hoop area. So we could, in theory, go in and take our pins out now that it's all hooped up. But I'm going to leave my pins in. But when you are pinning your various layers together, I would keep them out of the hoop area so the pins don't interfere with you actually hooping the garment. All right, so we have our sweatshirt in our machine. Now, mine is upside down. Your orientation may be a little bit different, but I also have my design upside down. Now, the one thing that I didn't do that I really should have is I should have marked my sweatshirt even before I hooped it where I wanted the top of my design to hit. So I'm kind of guessing more or less, but I know the hoop is centered on my hood, centered on my pocket. So I'm good left to right, but I am a little bit concerned top to bottom. But we can use this framing option, and it's going to frame this out. And I can kind of guess about where that's going to hit up top by doing that frame. Okay, so there we go. So now what we're going to do is we're going to switch over to our sewing window. Now I'm using a PR 600 by Brother, and you can see that this is going to stitch with needle 4, and we need that to stitch with needle 5. Okay, and then our next step, which will be our swoosh, is going to be needle 6. And then we're going to do the Nike and the swoosh together is going to be needle 6, and then needle 2, needle 3 for red, needle 1 for black. Yes, all the rest of it's all set up already. So we can go ahead, I believe, hit that reserve stop. You can't really see it in the video very well, but it is, I believe it is highlighted there a little bit. But it should stop after that first color, but if not, I can just touch the screen and it'll stop. So what it's gonna do is gonna do this zigzag border that's gonna hold all 3 layers together, right? And one thing that you could do is you could have done that twice if you wanted to. In my case, I think we're just gonna try it once, but that if we had done it twice, then it would just, you know, hold those 3 layers together a little bit better. But we'll just try it out here. So we're ready to stitch. So here we go. So you can see us using needle 5. I'm gonna go ahead and do that outline. Now, one thing that I can see right away is that I really would have preferred that outline to be much wider. Probably double, possibly even triple that wide. Now I do have my machine at its lowest setting in terms of speed. And the other thing I can see here is we probably could have made our zigzag even spaced even wider. But I definitely wished I would have gone at least 8 millimeters or 9 millimeters wide instead of, I think we did 4. Okay, so the reserve stop did work. So it did stop because now we need to pull the hoop out and we need to trim all of this excess fabric. On the inside of that zigzag we just created, we need to trim all that away. Okay, so that will be our next step there. So let me go ahead and pull that out. We'll show you what that looks like when we get it all trimmed up. So there we go. We have our original brand new sweatshirt trimmed back, and we just use these little scissors. They're super sharp. These are Singer brand. But they do make a special scissor with a more curved, see how that has a little bit curved tip. Just want to be super careful that we're not cutting the peekaboo fabric, just the top layer. So now we can go ahead and finish stitching the rest. Well, you can see it's stitching out nicely. So far so good here. Doing the satin stitch of our swoosh here. The lettering turned out really nice. We'll go ahead and let it finish up here. See what it looks like when it's all done. So there is our finished embroidery design. So we'll get it taken out of the machine and taken out of the hoop and take a look at the finished product. Now, when we take it out of the hoop, we will have to turn it back inside out, and we're going to trim all this excess fabric and stabilizer that's on the outside of our zigzag here. But then we'll be ready to go. Okay, so I'll do that, take my pins out, cut my fabric, excess fabric, and then we'll take a look at the finished product. So you can see we have our cutaway cut away, and now we're going to cut away the excess sweatshirt fabric. So now you can see we have our excess sweatshirt fabric cut away. So now we can turn it right side out and take a look at our finished design.